I get asked a lot of questions about taxes and how to legally avoid them. And the way you do it is by the way you register the vessel and where you use it. This is what you have to keep in mind. And so, like, you see, I don't know if you can see this motor yacht going out over here. Let's see if I can find it here. I'm doing this all backwards. This is the first time I've done this. Oh, that one, yeah. So that's a Marshall Islands flag, and you might be thinking, well, sheesh, why do they register in the Marshall Islands? Well, they do it because it's inexpensive, it's tax-free, and you can have more privacy there. They allow nominee directors and things like that. And anybody can actually be tax-free, totally tax-free, if you register the vessel in the proper place. So, for example, Americans going to Europe or even into the US, if they foreign flag their vessel, that is register like in the Marshall Islands, BVI, Cayman Islands, Gibraltar, Jersey Islands, places like that, when they travel around, they just clear in as a foreign flag vessel, pay the cruising permit fees, and they remain totally tax-free. Now, when you foreign flag, there come with it some restrictions. So, for example, when you enter the US, you get a cruising permit for a year. When you want to renew it, you just sail away, and we just sail 47 miles that way to Bimini and stay for a few days, come back, renew the permit, and you're good for another year. In Europe, it works very similar to that. But if you are an EU passport holder, they're going to see through the fact that you registered elsewhere, and there may be a problem there. But there are other strategies to save on European taxes. One little known method over there is used by, I understand, any EU resident can do this, but here's the rule there. To be totally VAT-free, you have to buy the vessel outside of the EU. You must stay on the vessel outside of the EU for 1 year, physically be there, and then you return with the vessel, and you must do so through one of the ports in England where they do this. And I know Portsmouth is one of them. And you declare your vessel as returning with household goods. Now you might say, household goods, what? Well, they allow it, you know, that's one of your household goods. So you just return with them. You fill out a form, and you get this exemption certificate that you carry with you, and it's totally legal. I had a Swedish customer do that, and some UK residents and others use this, and a lot of people don't know that you can do this. Now back to the US, we have different taxes here that have to do with the states. So in Florida, for example, we have sales and use tax. So if the boat is sold here, sales tax kicks in. It's between 6 and 7% generally. Has to do with the county you're in. And now there's a little known exemption here in Florida that's totally legal. It took me many years to find out about this, because the state doesn't advertise these things, because they want to scare you into, you know, paying taxes to them. So they don't tell you about this. They just tell you about all the penalties, you know. And so what it says is that if you buy a yacht outside of Florida, outside the state of Florida, and then you spend a minimum of 6 months in another U.S. taxing jurisdiction, which could be like a tax-free state of New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Delaware, or St. Thomas qualifies as a U.S. territory, and it's a duty-free, tax-free port. and you can prove you were there for 6 months. When you return to Florida, all you do is you have to check in with an auto tag agency. This is where they do automobile registrations, boat registrations. You know, you have 90 days to do that from when you get here, and you tell them, hey, I bought this boat outside of Florida. I spent, 6 months over here in this other US territory, and I can prove it. Here's my dock receipt. And they'll say, oh, okay. And then so they issue a little registration card. I think it's $85 for a 45-foot boat, or they're roughly that. And then you're tax-free. So that's a way to save some money that, isn't talked about that much. Other states have their own sales and use tax, which is triggered in different ways. But if you call me, I can tell you how to legally be exempt. And every state's a little different. But in the buying process, when we identify the best boat for you, we'll go over all that and make a plan. And so, but you have to make a plan early so that when you buy the boat, you do it the right way. The bills of sale must be done a certain way, and sometimes you have to form a corporation. And a lot of people register in the tax-free, low-cost, wonderful state of Delaware because it's cheap, it's easy, and it's quick. And there's over 150,000 yachts registered there. A lot of Europeans will register there. That's like a tax haven for Europeans. And so if you contact me, just look at my website, largecatamaranforSale.com, and let me know what you're considering. We can work out a strategy to keep you totally tax-free, save that money, put that money into something else, like solar panels, wind generators, water makers, whatevers, and you'll be a happy camper. So give me a call, give me an email, and smooth sailing.